fine. Good morning or almost good afternoon. Thank you so much for the great welcome and introduction. I'm going to invite my friends on up to the stage. So Keisha Thomas and Jolene Rishk, if y'all will come on up and make yourself at home, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So just like she said, I represent the Workforce Solutions for Tarrant County. There are 28 local workforce boards in the state of Texas, and we operate this board here in Tarrant County. We have 6 workforce centers that operate and help job seekers relocate and find a new workplace. And we also help businesses on the flip side of that find grant incentives and state funding that can help them grow their business and find talent. So I have a friend back in the back that I don't want to miss out on. That's Kim Husnicker from Texas Workforce Commission he's Kim standing up, waving at everybody, representing Skills for Small Business. Skills for Small Business is a grant incentive for businesses 100 employees or less. You can get $1,800 for each candidate if they are new hires, and $900 in grant incentives for training for incumbent workers. And that training will go through your local community college. So our friends at Tarrant County College are back here, Jennifer Hawkins, Robin Donovan, and Mac Belmontes. And the funds funnel through their system so that folks can get Excel training, Microsoft Word training, and even technical training in manufacturing if the college offers that opportunity. Don't worry, we've skipped showing you a PowerPoint in the sake of time, so you can hear these wonderful ladies and learn about the opportunities they've got available. But I do have a table back in the back, so Laura Sweeney and Esmeralda Garcia, they have a one-page document all about Texas Workforce Commission's Skills for Small Business funding, as well as all of our grant opportunities. We do run and operate in the state of Texas a website called Work in Texas. It is probably the best kept secret. You all know about Indeed and Monster and Career Builder. This service, Work in Texas, is a free website for both job seekers and employers to post their current job openings and have workforce professionals in our workforce centers help funnel those job postings and find talent that come into the workforce centers looking for opportunities. So it is a free service. Your tax dollars go toward that system, and so make sure you're using that. It's just another avenue in an economy where we have a low unemployment rate. So I'm going to move on to these sweet ladies, and I'm going to really quickly tell you a little bit about each one of them. So I've got Jolene Rish. She has more than 20 years of experience in consulting on people-related matters. Her entire career has been an exploration of identification, cultivation, motivation, and nurturing of talent and people. After earning her MA degree in organizational psychology from Columbia University, she began her career as a consultant in people effectiveness practice at Ernst & Young. And then we have Keisha Thomas, who's a client relations executive at ADP, where she leads a client-facing service group of human resource business partners who are focused on working directly with small to mid-sized business owners to help advance their business and enrich the lives of their employees. This group of human resource business partners' expertise is centered around directly impacting clients' P&L and margins in the areas of talent, compensation, and benefits and risk mitigation. So I'm going to let the two of them talk about their companies for just a little bit, and then we'll move into some questions. Want to start?
Yeah, so Rich Results, we are about 11 years old, and what we do, well, for 10 of those years, we were doing direct hire recruiting for small and medium-sized businesses. Last year, in an effort to offer some more flexibility in staffing, we started a staffing division that focuses on accounting and finance, so temporary and interim people, basically in accounting and finance. Still, though, most of the requests that we receive are for direct hire. And to be honest, I mean, that's where the challenges are. I mean, there are a lot of challenges right now in finding great talent. You read about it all the time. Unemployment is as low as it can be. There was a couple shout outs earlier about the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. I just started it last week. My growth partner is over there, Teresa, And it was interesting because last week in one of the discussions, the question came up, what is your biggest challenge? And what did people say? Finding talent. And also the question came up, what is your biggest risk? What was the answer? Losing great talent. Yeah. So this is on everyone's mind. The fact is, and we're going to be talking about this in just a minute, great talent is not going to walk through your door. And also, right after you post an ad on, LinkedIn or Indeed or Monster, I can guarantee it's going to be a tough wait to find exactly what you're looking for. So talent is an issue that every company is dealing with, small, medium, large, just a question of what you can do to have great talent and keep that great talent.
All right, great. I'm Keisha Thomas. As Renee mentioned, I'm the Client Relations Executive for ADP. I'm with the division of Total Source. So I know when you think about ADP, some people think security, that's ADT. But ADP is actually the payroll and human resource outsourcing company. So with Total Source, we're a professional employer organization. So that's different from just payroll. We partner with small to mid-sized businesses that need help with HR outsourcing. So you can focus on what you got into business to do and let us take care of the back office. So we take care of the payroll, the benefits, workers' compensation, 401k, anything, training, succession planning, all of that for your talent. So as you talk about bringing the talent in, we help you actually bring it in and retain it with like Fortune 500 benefits. So excited to be here and look forward to any questions that you have about what we can do to help advance your business and enrich the lives of your employees.
Alrighty, and we will have some time at the end. We'll leave some time for you to have some Q&A and ask this panel some questions. So let's get started. So how do you suggest a small business owner compete for top talent in this job market where unemployment here in Tarrant County is sitting at about 3.5, 3.6? Ladies, Jolene?
So I'll talk about two areas that I think are critically important for small businesses to think about. And often we don't as small business owners. I'm a small business owner. I have 4 people. So often we need to be pushed to think about these: culture and internal training and development programs. Why are people attracted to a company? If all things are equal in terms of pay, why are people really going to be attracted to a company? Well, it's culture, and how can I develop and get to the next step? So when we think about internal training and thinking about grooming our people to get to the next level, companies really have a commitment. When we bring people in, whether it's a W-2 or a 1099, if they're working for your company, we have a commitment to employee development and helping people get to the next level. In terms of development, we also have a commitment to do performance reviews. And that's going to help you have discussions with the people that work with you in terms of where do they want to go? Do they want to go in this direction? Do they want to go in that direction? Do they want to do, basically how do they want to develop? The other thing I would say in terms of bringing people in, don't be afraid of entry level. If you bring in entry-level people and you have some strong development programs or some ideas in terms of development programs, you can get, talent that maybe only has a few years experience. You can get them to where you want them to be. And the next thing I want to say is do not be afraid of experienced workers, okay? So if you think about workers, I'm almost 50 in October, okay? So sometimes we think, well, probably they're not going to want to hire me. I'm 50 years old, or I'm 55, or I'm 60. Well, guess what? You get 2 things. You get experience and you get loyalty. That's huge for a company. So those people are out there. So don't be afraid of bringing in people that have that kind of experience, and don't be afraid of entry level. And again, when you're thinking about entry level, think about the training programs, how you can develop those, and think about the culture. I know a lot of small, mid-sized businesses that actually use a culture coach to help them so that they can have a culture that really represents their brand. We were listening earlier about how important it is to have a brand that, talks about your company and your personality. Well, sometimes there are people, I know small businesses, and this is what they focus on, helping other small businesses develop a culture that really represents who you are and helps to attract people, especially millennials, to the organization that you're in.
Right. And just to piggyback on that, when you think about your demographics, know your people, right?
Yeah.
And know what motivates them. So what may motivate a millennial is different from maybe a baby boomer. So as an owner and a leader, you need to identify that and target in on that. So for instance, when we think about millennials, right? We think about performance review. So gone are the days of an annual sit down, let's talk about how you did last year. They want the constant feedback, right? So maybe one-on-one sessions once a week. Hey, you did this really well. However, these are things that we can work on for next week. Whereas they want to be engaged as well. So instead of coming in perhaps saying, hey, this is what we're going to do, let's talk about, these are my thoughts about what we should do. What are your thoughts? So especially as you invest in that younger talent, make sure you're keeping them engaged so you don't end up losing them to your competitor when they feel like they're not being utilized to the best of their ability. I think along with that as well is your culture, like know who you are and what you want to be identified as an organization, right? And look for those type of people in your interview process on the front end, right? If you mention certain things and they're like, not interested, that's probably not a person you want to bring into the culture that you're trying to keep going within your organization.
And I'll kind of piggyback on what they both said. When we sit at the table with new employers coming to town, whether they be small or large, a lot of times in this economy, we are encouraging them to move their business and operations here, that workforce is available, but also to look at those demographics and those folks that maybe they weren't thinking about. And so just like you said, but also look at the grant incentives, look at the funding opportunities that are available through Texas Workforce Commission. Our workforce board on the job training is available. So once an employee onboards, they can utilize funding for training opportunities to upskill them once they get on board. So those are excellent. This kind of rolls into the next question in that, how do you suggest companies retain employees? And would that be a need for raising wages? So ladies, what do you think about that? Are you seeing people wanting more money, more thinking about more corporate culture and what businesses have to offer?
Right. I think it varies, right? So when you look at the big scale of total compensation, you have to look at, yes, take-home pay is a big portion of that. That's about 40% of what's important to people, but also the benefits, your time off policy, your dress code. Can I bring my dog to work once a month? Like different things like that don't necessarily cost a lot of money, but things that you can actually do to incentivize people. So I think a lot of times we throw money at people to try to retain them, right? Mm-hmm. But I think if they feel like they're engaged and they're invested in the growth of the organization, they have a seat at the table with you as owners, they're more likely to stick with you than to accept, a few extra dollars down the road. So I don't think you have to necessarily throw money at them all the time. You have to determine what motivates them, and what motivates you may be different from what motivates you over here.
Yeah, 100% agree. It's interesting, the conversation of retention I always think is interesting, and we're often called into organizations to replace somebody. And when we see a lot of turnover in a company, obviously my question as a recruiter is, well, why is that going on? If I place someone in that company and the person doesn't last, what does that say about my reputation as a recruiter? I want someone to last as long as possible, right? So often with companies that are having retention issues, we'll do something called an organizational assessment, right? And we'll go in and we'll take the whole company, depending on the size, we'll take a division, we'll take a group, a team, where you're seeing a lot of the turnover, and we'll actually interview 30 minutes, 45 minutes, depending on the questions we need to ask. We'll interview every single person, and we'll ask questions to get a better idea of what they're seeing within the organization. What do they like about working here? What do they don't like about working here? How are they being developed? How are they being managed? What do they like about how they're being managed, et cetera, et cetera. And when we take all of that data and we roll it up, we can identify issues that can be addressed. In fact, what we typically do is we take all those issues, we present them to management, and then we talk about next steps. What should we do next, right? And then, in terms of retention, we can really deal with what the company is dealing with, because just like Keisha said, everyone is there for a different reason. Everyone is leaving potentially for a different reason. Or here are some major issues within the organization. We need to address these or we're going to keep losing people.
Excellent.
If I could add one more thing, something practical you can do as an owner is what we call stay interviews. So once a month, have a conversation, like on a scale from 1 to 10, like how likely are you to stay with this organization? Like, do you believe in our vision, our mission, where we're headed? And then also, if you were offered another position, like what would take you? If they say it's money or it's better benefits, then you know as an owner, like those are things that you may need to do to keep your people happy and keep them on board with
That
you.
is great. I love that.
We also see that small and mid-sized businesses don't necessarily realize what the prevailing wage or labor market rate is for the talent that they have. And so that is another opportunity that Workforce Solutions, any of the workforce systems, can help you. We can run a free labor market assessment and
That's
tell you the
interesting.
prevailing wages of any job position that's in the Department of Labor SOC code. So if you want to know what a general manager of a manufacturing plant might make, we can help you provide the entry level wage and then on up to a more experienced rate. And some of those things are very helpful for new business moving in, but also for small business owners to try to gauge if they're even competitive in a mid-sized to large market with unemployment rates. So the next question, and we will open it up to you, is just in a second. What are some of the blind spots that a small business owner or small businesses should be on the lookout as they're trying to win this war on talent? We've kind of talked a little bit about that, but anything else that a PEO or PEO can offer?
Yeah, so when you think about the PEO relationship, and if you're not familiar with it, I'll be happy to talk with you more afterwards, but it really allows the business owner to focus on what you got into business to do, right? Was it a particular service or product that you want to focus on? No one gets into business wanting to do payroll or shop benefits every year or shop workers' comp brokers. So we partner with small businesses to allow them to advance their business and enrich the lives of their employees. So as a small business, you can partner with a PO and offer Fortune 500 benefits that you couldn't perhaps on your own. Also, you would get what we call a dedicated HR business partner, which is similar to what you said, Jolene, where they sit down with you and say, hey, what are your goals for the next 6 to 8 months? Let's talk about what your focus is, and if it's culture, if it's retention, if it's employee development, then your HR business partner would partner with you and create what we call a business plan, a business service plan, and we guide you through that. And then, 6, 8 months from now, we can look at how it affected your bottom line in a positive way and move from there as well. So I think blind spot is you as a business owner trying to do everything yourself, right? You're not, right? So what keeps you up at night and does not fuel your fire are things that you need to think about outsourcing to other people that are experts at it.
The only thing I would add to that is, as a small business owner, sometimes we tend to work in a vacuum, right? We tend to not think about what else is out there in terms of our community. I love to suggest to small business owners trying to be as active as possible in the community. Not really from a marketing perspective, because it could be, you're working at the North Dallas Food Bank, or you're working at Austin Street Shelter serving meals. So it's not as much about a marketing as just learning about community, getting out there, doing things in the community, not working in a vacuum.
Excellent. So we are going to open it up for 2 questions. If the audience has any questions, I realize we are sitting right in between you and food, so we will make this really brief. But if anybody has a question for both Jolene and Keisha, we will open it up. Anybody? Yes, ma'am.
For Jolene? Me, Keisha?
sorry.
Okay. So with Total Source, you can have as small as 2 employees.
Can we repeat the question? The mic's right behind you. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry. Keisha, my question for you is, what size of business are you looking for? What's your bottom and what's your top of
Right.
employees?
So when you think about like Total Source, the professional employee organization, we actually can bring on clients with as little as 2 employees all the way up to thousands. So we have some national brand clients that are ours that still, although they have a dedicated HR department, they still want a partner behind the scenes to help with the strategic vision. We have the, small businesses that are 2 to 15 that are just starting off. They don't have an HR person, they maybe just have like a payroll person or the owner's doing payroll, right? So we become your HR department off-site. So you would get a dedicated HR business partner, a payroll service representative, a benefits person, a 401k, a risk and safety. So you have 5 or 6 people behind that partnership that allows you to focus on what you want to do. So at least like 2 employees, we can help you. You want to add anything about your?
We have helped companies hire their first employee, and we have helped companies hire their 500, 1,000, I don't know, employee. We've helped, what we're doing, what we're very, very good at is helping companies find key talent, and often with very unique skills. Like in our industry, we call it the purple squirrels. We love looking for the purple squirrels.
Excellent. Any other questions? No questions? Well, let's give these ladies a round of applause. Thank you so much, Jolene and Keisha. And you can find all of their materials at both our workforce table and then Keisha's table for ADT.